Coastal protection!
Hi, I'm Rachel from England and I'm studying a PhD in sea level change.
Good day, I'm Tina. I'm German, but I've been living in New Zealand for the last 5 years and I'm doing my PhD in freshwater ecology.
Hey, I'm Anne and I come from Rostock and I'm an engineer.
Hello, my name is Lan from Vietnam. I'm doing my PhD in Bonn.
Hi, I'm Julia. I come from Hamburg and I do my PhD in economics.
Hello, I'm Andrew. I come from Nigeria and I'm working with UNEP.
The science behind global climate change is beyond dispute, and the facts are real. Coastlines are shrinking and sea levels are rising at a rate of nearly double that of the past century. And then if we look at the predicted rates for the next century, we have 18 to 79 centimetres of predicted sea level rise. Clearly, climate change is a reality, and a reality along the Baltic coast. We need to think about the adaptive measures that we can take to sort this problem. The reality is here that we've had storm surges in the past. We've even had tornadoes of the last week. This is a new extreme weather event that we've not experienced here at the Baltic coast, and so we know that climate change is already here. The importance of this coastline is extreme. It's a multifunctioning coast, from tourism to industry to fisheries to lots of habitats that need protecting. So we're now going to look at what's available at this coast and think about the adaptive measures we can take in the next few years.
We have to accept that the coast is a mosaic in space and time, and its main feature is change. Change is a driving force and should be allowed. It is not about coastal protection by all means, but only where possible and required by our laws to protect settled areas. The natural process of erosion of steep coasts and sand transport to beaches is a significant part of coastal change and should not be interfered with.
Here we are in the Studenten area along the Baltic Sea. One of the natural landforms is the steep coast. The steep coast can be in form of the sanding or can be marl or the other materials. Behind us is the sanding steep coast. To protect the sanding steep coast, we also have some trees on the above, and this roof of the tree can go deeply to the soil to provide the stability. In addition, we can have some stone package. This stone packet can lie down along the beach to absorb the energy and to dissipate the energy before it can reach to the shores.
It's the seawall, and it's used for high energy coastlines when there's lots of waves coming in from the prevailing direction.
In Nigeria, I said we also have a coastline with coastal defense like this, but at about in 2000, in the early 2000s, we have a storm surge that more or less was, it became quite useless because it could not really protect the flooding that came from the waters. But I think, as you said earlier, it's not really the best measures as against coastal erosion.
Now we are in Heiligendamm, the so-called White City, where we have the shallow coastline and the dunes. And Anne, can you tell me what these wooden sticks are for?
The wooden sticks are called groins and they are an indirectly coastal protection measure. Between two groin lines the water can calm down and the sediment can deposit. In the past we had a lot of problems with a mussel called Teredo navalis which destroyed the groins. So now we only use certificated tropical materials, tropical wood for the groins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when we have a big storm flood, these groins are not sufficient to keep the coastline because a lot of sand is taken out into the ocean. And because of that, big pipelines bring sand from the deep sea to the coastlines, and the sand is distributed along the beaches. And the beaches are very important for the dunes to protect them from erosion.
We consider climate change to be a lesser threat to the outer coastline. Our main concern are inland waters and flooding from rivers, especially since there are conflicting predictions when it comes to the effect of climate change on storm surges. Should we expect an increase in intensity or frequency? There's little information about changes in storm surges. If there was no change, we would only have to deal with an increase in water level. And for this we are prepared. But if there was an increase in intensity and frequency on storm surges, we have a bigger problem that we would need to address. However, the strategies in place are appropriate for our coast. Only the structures would have to become larger and more substantial. For our outer coast, climate change as such is not a problem.